Alright, that was remarkably quick, really. One of the fastest ever. Which means we can get started. So, last time we set up, what was it, neural quantum something something. Neural quantum computer processor? Yes, neural quantum processor. I think that's it. Neural quantum processors. So, we need those to be produced in order for our next hub upgrade. And actually, I should go back to the hub and just like set that upgrade as being the thing that we're working on so that I can see the numbers. I think it's something like 100 of those, and like we have 53. And it also requires a lot of fused frames, I think, which we don't have. So we're just going to head over there and refresh ourselves on the numbers. I really should, like, realistically should have moved the hub at some point, but it's too late now. The game, like, there's literally a couple more, like 2 more hub upgrades left to do. Alright, so we're getting over there. And somewhere up here there ought to be a hypertube. Yep, there it is. Alright, so off we go through the hypertube. And here's the Mark II blueprint generator, which hopefully we won't have to use much in the future. Alright, and just about at the hub. So, Fix-It Blueprints Mark III. Let's just select that. We need 500 fused frames, 100 neural quantum processors, and 250 time crystals and fixite. So we can get the time crystals and fixite in. Just pop you in, and done. And then the fused frames we need 500 of. That's a lot of fused frames. And 100 neural quantum processors, which we currently don't have. We currently have like 50-ish. So, let's just check the fused frames to see if they're close-ish. Actually, it'll again be quicker to take the hypertube cannon over. Kind of incredible that the base is large enough that this is necessary now. Alright, up we go. And we slow down. And don't overshoot by too much. Alright, so this is the neural quantum processor area. Let's swap back to the hover pack now. This is just going along, right? Yep, it's just going along. Putting crystals and the occasional processor out. Nothing to worry about there. Then what we need to do is find the fused frames. The fused frames are here. So we have 140 almost in there. That brings it up to almost 200. So this is total of almost 400 fused frames, but we need 500. So that is a bit of a problem. Are there any spare fused frames in here? No, there are none. Okay, where's the other thing that uses fused frames? It's like turbo motors or something, right? If I just hop, skip, and a jump over here. Do you have any fused frames for me? No, you have 0. That makes sense because we did set it to prioritize the dimensional storage. So, let's see. We said we were at almost 400, and we need 500 total. So that's going to put us at a little over 100 needed. And I think I threw some summer sloops in here, right? Just like 2, though. Yes. So with 110-ish fuse frames needed and 2.25 per minute, we'll get there in about an hour. And the neural quantum processors probably likewise. Let's see. We have 57. We have some in our inventory, right? That's going to be more like half an hour. But regardless, we have about an hour to kill before we can unlock Blueprints Mark III. So, I think the reasonable thing to do is fix up the plutonium plant. Now, previously I had checked, and there were occasional stutters in power production. Let's just see if we can catch one. No, it looks like it might be good, but I want to head over there to confirm, just in case. And if it is 100% functional, we might even scale it up, although I don't think that's going to be needed. We could add another floor on, but I doubt it's necessary. And it would also probably just cause more problems in the short term. But I also think there's some summer sloops over there that I can collect. Alright, so let's head over to the hypertube cannon. Alright, almost at the hypertube cannon. Now, before we use it, we need to swap the last bit to point in the correct direction. And I believe there's a new building specifically for this, like a hypertube junction, but I don't know how that works. So we're just going to launch on over here. And we did swap to jetpack, right? Right, cool. Alright. I used a little bit of fuel right during the autosave because I think sometimes that gives you a lag boost. Alright, so we head over here. And time to see what's going on. Alright, coming in for a landing on the rooftops. And we overshoot. And run out of fuel. Alright. Here we are. Now, we should just check all of the power plants to see if they're working 100% or not. Bit of a power dead zone in there, which we almost fell, but we didn't. That's 100%. 98%. Oh yeah, look at that. There's a little bit of a gap there. So it isn't 100% functional. It's just normally functional. Yeah, lots of these are at 98%. 91% down there. That one's at 100. That one's at 100. And that one's at 100. So they're between 100 to 98%, basically. Which means that something in here is going wrong. Let's check all of these. Oh, they're these floors. So that's at 100% very comfortably. Then we go up here. And this one is at 100% and also pretty much solid. Then we go up to floor 3, and it's at 98%, and there are not enough electromagnetic control rods. And then I assume if we go up to floor 4, we'll find the same thing. 85% because of electromagnetic control rods. Alright. Well, let's fix that. Which ones even are those? There's these ones? Yes. Alright. What, if anything, is wrong with you? Nothing's seemingly wrong here on the top floor. It might just still be buffering, which is completely outrageous, but it is possible. Or it could be some of these aren't getting output properly. That's 100%. Then we drop down here. Oh, this one is 92%. What is wrong with you? Looks like not much of AI limiters here. Let's check. Stators are at 100%. AI limiters are at 92%, missing copper sheets. Why are you short on copper sheets? It's because of a shortage of copper. Okay, so that's interesting. So why are we short on copper? So we go back here, and that is... should all be fully balanced if that one is saturated. So let's check in here and see what's going on. Start at the bottom floor. And the copper are these ones over here to the right. 100% there. And then we go up. 100% there. Then we go up. We're gonna find something that's not right in here somewhere. 100%. And up to the top floor. And 100%. What? Did we do the math wrong? Are we, like, not producing enough copper to begin with? Because that's clearly full. Like, that's 100%. And it's what? Let me do the math here. This is 30.375 copper. 30.375 copper per floor. And so what uses the copper? There are two things. Just this and this. So let's check this. And it's all going up on this floor. Alright, and then that's 10.68 there. 2.967. 10.68 plus 2.967 is 13.647. 13.647 copper for heat sinks. Right, so that's that. That's that. Then we have to figure out how much copper is needed for this. And it might be rounded slightly or something. Alright, that's the EM control rods thing. this is now showing 100%. Oh, this is the top floor, right? Which was fine for some reason. So we need 6.408 there, 10.68 there. 17.088. So 17.088 plus 13.647 is 30.73. Oh. It's 0.735, not 0.375. Okay. Math. What fun. Alright. So we can just pop in here and just change these real quick. 0.735. .735. I can't believe I mixed up my numbers. 0.735. And one more. 0.735. And then I should go to a blueprint designer, which, gosh, I think I may have deleted to save space, but I need to make the fix to the blueprint in case I ever need to upgrade it, because there's no chance that I'm ever figuring that out again. Alright, so give me a nice sized platform. Alright, that should be more than big enough. Blueprint Designer Mark II. And load up plutonium, copper, and deuterium. And now we just have to come up here. 30.735. Fixed. And the amount of water and copper ore is going to be slightly different now, but who cares? 735. Right. So that's that. Now we're going to need to just stabilize it real quick by filling the manifolds. Which probably won't be enough to let us know if there's anything else going wrong, but can at least be worth an attempt. Alright, so how do we even do that? Like, the problem is it's copper ingots and not anything that we actually have access to in our dimensional storage. So I don't know how exactly we're going to do that. We could just, I don't know, we could like summer sloop something in here, but I don't even know where. Like, I don't have a summer sloop on me. There aren't any in immediate scanning range, and I don't know where they are. There's definitely some in this part of the... There's definitely some in the nuclear plant. I just have no idea what machine they could possibly be in. Okay, so the next thing I need to check while I'm here is the waste usage. So let's Pop in a throughput monitor there. And a throughput monitor there. And hopefully those should be about the same. That's showing 116. That's showing 130 something for some reason. Yeah, it looks like we might be... Let's check if that's actually literally true, but it looks like we might be running out of nuclear waste, which I don't know how that happened. That's showing 119. This is showing 124. Are these not all running at full capacity? So this is like, I believe when we did the math it was 10 per power plant, right? So this is 10, 30, 60, 90, should be 120 exactly. And let's see here, plutonium cells. 40 non-fissile uranium, right, of course. Non-fissile uranium is 30 waste, so yeah, it should be exactly equal. I don't know why it isn't. Possibly with just due to, like, you know, irregularities and stuff. How are these load balancers working? Pretty well, looks like. Alright, so let's head over to these counters and see if they've stabilized again. So yeah, that's stabilized. It is exactly 120 as expected. And this is also exactly 120 as expected. Great. That is great. So now this shouldn't be filling up any. This should just be chilling as it is. And yeah, that should be that. So that waste looks good. Now, if I remember, the plutonium waste was like 2 per minute per plant. So this should be totally fine. This is showing 6 per minute total. 2, 4. Yeah, okay. So it's some very small number, basically. And if we just look in here, then that has... I mean, it's already is starting to build up reasonably quickly, but like... reasonably quickly is not very quickly in this instance. Like this should last us basically forever. And did we already unlock Fixonium? We did. We could do this. It seems like it could be fun. So we get plutonium waste. You add a singularity cell, which I haven't unlocked, and dark matter residue, which is not horribly difficult to get. And we make Fixonium. Then we combine Fixonium with all sorts of other nonsense to make Fixonium fuel rods. And dark matter residue, which you can just do something with. And then you burn the fuel rods and you get power. Alright, well, that's fun. Apparently it's very power inefficient. We might end up doing that just to say that we did the entire nuclear chain. But probably after we finish project assembly. Yeah, I think that's going to be our plan. We're going to finish project assembly, then we're going to do probably some like ballistic warp drives for sinking, and then we're going to do what are they called? Fixonium fuel rods. And then once we have all of that going, then that would be the end of this save probably. Which means we are not that far. And alright, so we fixed the copper shortage. We should just go in and if we just throw in some copper sheets, it should temporarily solve the problem long enough for the permanent solution to show up. So there you go, have some copper sheets. And am I going to have to do that for all of these, or probably just that one? Yeah, okay, so all the ones beneath that are going to be filled up. I don't know if the top floor is going to be filled up, though. Yeah, it's running at 100% anyway, so that's fine. Alright. So that's that. And this should be achieving 100% now. We're going to have to wait ages for the control rods. Yeah, and I don't have them. I could just manually craft a couple. Like, manually crafting them is relatively quick compared to how fast they're being auto-crafted. So I'm not going to do a lot of this, just like 10 or 20, maybe, to keep this buffer going. 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 should be enough. Alright, take you down. And you can get half of those. And then you drop down here. And you get the other half just in time to not quite prevent it from stopping. And then I assume the lower floors are going to be fine on them. Yeah, those are all maxed out. Alright. Plutonium factory. I think I want to say that this is just finished. So until we return for the Fixonium fuel, I'm pretty much just happy with this. So yeah, let's make our way back. And do I want to respawn, or do I just want to run along? Kind of still need to kill some time for the fused modular frames to show up. So I might just run along the map normally. Grab some summer sloops along the way, ideally. Yeah, right. Out of power range. Swap to jetpack. And we're just going to run back to base and pick up any summer sloops that happen to be along the route. Hopefully there will be some. Alright, running along. None so far. There's a hard drive, which I assume I already grabbed. you finished nuclear before 1.1 was live and you've been troubleshooting it the past couple of days, yeah. I'm in a similar boat where I finished nuclear not before 1.1 was live, I don't think, but a while ago, and gosh, it's always 90%, 95%, never quite 100 yet. Alright, so let's grab this summer sloop. Should be up just on top of this rock, probably. No, it's not on top of the rock. Is it underneath the rock in a cave? Oh, yes, it is. Very cool. Alright. Summer sloop acquired. Now we get out of the cave. And dude, you can get out of this cave easily. I want to maintain a little bit of height just for convenience of jetpacking around. I'm just going to keep on heading east. Alright. Moving east. Should be... I don't think I've taken this route by foot often at all, so there should be more summer sloops to grab. Alright, let's climb up this. Up we go. And this is a gigantic cliff. I did not realize that this cliff was this big. But up we go, nevertheless. Yeah, this is gigantic. What the heck? I don't think it's ever taken this long to get up a cliff. Gosh, even now we're like on level with it. Alright, I'm going to swap to foundations in case I need to build a platform off the side. I don't. Alright, cool. So now, can't quite see anything fun in the distance. Ooh, there's a summer sloop on the scanner though. It's what, this way? Ah, I see it. Alright, so let's hop over and grab that. Sorry, little guy, just gonna swoop right past you. Alright, and we keep moving. Alright. Should be like halfway there. Oh, there's another summer sloop on the scanner. This was definitely worth it. It's definitely worth going by foot every so often when you could hypertube or respawn, but there's the summer sloop. Quite well camouflaged in this part of the map. Alright, grab that, and now we get out of that little thicket. And we keep on heading east. Alright, keep on heading east. And another summer sloop. We're just picking them up left and right. Alright, where are you? Just in here? Are you like on top of the tree? Or no, you're just on the other side of the tree. Are these floating train stations and factories okay with the game rules? Yeah, this game would be so extraordinarily difficult if you had to like actually obey the laws of gravity. Like everything that I do just would not work. Alright. Open that. Oh, there was a summer sloop briefly on the radar, but it seems like it was very far out of the way. Alright. You can now see the city in the distance, and another summer sloop. Alright, where is this summer sloop? Probably... Oh, no, it's apparently right below us. Am I blind? Where is it? It's up there? Up here. What on earth? Am I going crazy? Why did the scanner say there's a summer sloop, like, nowhere in particular? Is it on top of those things? It must be on, like, on top of one of these things, and I'm just currently directly under it or something. Let's climb up and see. Yeah, there it is. Alright, we grab it. And man, the city always looks really cool from a distance. Like, it really does look like a city skyline from over here. No summer sloops currently on radar, and we're also about to fall and die, but we barely made it. Alright, let's continue jetpacking over. Another summer sloop down here. Yeah, the ones in caves are very annoying to find. Where is this? This one. This one might be in a cave. Yeah, this one's got to be in a cave. Probably down in here? No. Oh, it might be on that rock up there. Yeah, it's going to be on that arch, isn't it? No, it says it's this way. Which means it's in a cave. Let's look for an entrance over here then. Ooh, this looks promising. Yeah, here we go. So we just pop in here, and there it is. Alright. Summer sloop. Alright, there's the exit to the cave. And over we go. Still no summer sloops in scanning range. I really wish that it didn't make this annoying sound just constantly when there wasn't anything within the scanning range. That would be nice. Alright, so we get up here. And should be pretty close now. I mean, relatively speaking. I'd like to grab one more summer sloop. Oh, there's one. Alright, let's track this one down. You can turn down the scanner volume separately. I did not know that. Let's see. Options. Audio. Sound effects. Aha. Object scanner. Alright, you go to like literally 10%. Alright, now we head over this way. Yeah, I don't think I've ever scrolled that far down on the audio menu before. Alright, so the summer sloop is going to be up here somewhere. Or not. Is it in the uranium? look like it's in the uranium. Is there a cave? Or is it actually in the uranium? It might actually be just in the uranium, which means, hooray, we get to mine uranium by hand and put down a box to store it in. Yep, there it is. Alright, so let's grab that. And, oh, it's in organization. I don't know why I always think these things are in logistics. Right, there you go. And off we go. Neat. Alright. So let's just make the rest of the way over there. And to the city we go. Now we're very close. Hey look, a power line. I wonder what that power line is for. And another summer sloop on the scanner. Nice. Alright, where is this one? Is it another... It's another underground one. It's in a cave somewhere. I'm just not going to worry about it. Okay, I should just grab more fuel for the jetpack just so I don't ever run out. And basically there at this point. So the thing we need to do once we get there is check on our fused modular frame supply, because that is the thing limiting our ability to... We're not going to make it from this jump. Let's just place down a foundation and walk over. The thing with Giant Floating City is that it can be quite difficult to actually get to if you're not approaching from exactly the previous angles where I've approached from before. This will get us there easy. Alright, now we swap to hover pack. Alright, so somewhere in here, one of these buildings is fused frame production. I think it's over here. Alright, here it is. Moment of truth. How much is there? $224. This is 200. So 400-ish. I could have sworn there was like another 50 just lying in some random location. Okay, I could have sworn we were at 400-ish previously. Well, I'm just gonna grab all of them. And right, they're not in there, of course. They're in here. Alright, there's those 50 lying around. And then there's those. 100, 200, 300, 400, 480. So close, and yet so far. Alright, we need... One of the reasons I went around grabbing summer sloops is so that I could run in here and do that. So that's a little bit better now. And neural quantum processors are basically done as well. So let's put these things in to the hub, and then we will be very, very close. Just waiting on a couple more fused frames. Alright, down to the hub. Which is unfortunately hilariously far away because the city is very, very large. And due to incredible planning, the hub is on the exact opposite end of the city from where I build all of the new stuff, which means I have to make this journey every single time. I did build a hypertube somewhere around here. Where is the hypertube? Is it in this little gap to the left of me, I think? Alright, let's head over there. And in we go. Weirdly slow boost today. Alright. We're moving up to speed now. And now we're basically there. Just gotta move past the blueprint designers and through this super old production area that we built very, very, very long time ago and have never bothered to upgrade much since then. Alright, here we are. Have some fused frames. Now I just need 20 more fused frames. I have 6. Alright. Well, that's going to take a while. So it's going to take... I'm getting 3 a minute. We need 14. It'll take like 5 minutes. That's not that bad at all. And then we're probably going to need more to actually build the blueprint designer. That is a bridge we'll cross when we get to it. Although maybe we can get lucky and there's some fuse train just like lying in a blueprint designer somewhere. These boxes. No, obviously not in there. That's the Mark 1 blueprint designer. So now we head on over here. This one might have some. It does. Fantastic. There's a bunch of other junk too. We'll leave the rest of that junk for later. My inventory is a bit filled at the moment. Though I don't even know what it's filled with. Right, there you go. And we click launch. And Blueprint Designer Mark III unlocked.
The Blueprint Designer Mark III allows for 20% increased blueprint size in all dimensions, for an overall 71.2% increase in volume.
Yeah,
Sadly, I doubt we will see
requires a lot.
Increases in your efficiency.
It's especially weird because if you look at the hub, this is literally like the second to last thing you unlock, basically. And like you're making like 2 or 3 blueprints after you unlock it too. It's kind of insanity. Alright, now how much does it take to actually build? Takes 20 fused frames, 10 of the neural quantum processors, and some other stuff which is relatively cheap. So it's going to take like another 3 or 4 minutes before I can even build this. I'm waiting on the neural quantum processors now. So up to 7 of those. And I also don't even know if this is going to be good enough because the thing that I really want to put in here, the quantum encoder, is very, very large. Yeah, I can see that. But it does feel like maybe you should unlock Blueprint Designer Mark III at least like near the beginning of of tier 9 as opposed to like midway through it. Like if it were the first thing you unlocked in tier 9 using only stuff you had produced in tier 8, I think that would be fine. But as it is, it's somewhat silly. Alright. Fused frames have showed up. Another 2 minutes for the neuroquantum processors. Let's take those 2 minutes to just set up a platform to build it in. So there we go. Platform needs to be reasonably big because the Blueprint Designer Mark III is reasonably big. Stop placing it like that. Oh no, is that... That's in the way. Okay, that's fine. We will build it this way. Alright. That should be enough space. It'd be crazy if it weren't. We're still one neural quantum processor short. Is that really going at 1 a minute? Feels like it isn't. Still only 2. We need 1 more, which should literally take 1 minute. There it is. Right. Blueprint Designer Mark III. Successfully built. Alright, so we have that. Takes a while to load in. Now the moment of truth. Does the quantum encoder even fit? This was deliberate. There's no way. There's no way they accidentally made the neural quantum encoder 49 meters long when Blueprint Designer Mark III is 48 meters long. That is deliberately messing with me. Okay. Alright. Well, so much for that plan. Like, it is literally 1 meter too long. That's crazy. Alright, well, with that, what do we even need this Blueprint Designer Mark III for? Like what? Actually, what's the point? It's genuinely just useless. Okay. Because I'm pretty sure all of the recipes we're building from now on use those pretty much. So I guess that's just gonna sit there and not make any blueprints. Wonderful. Alright, let's head back to the hub. I believe the next thing we need then... Yep, they sure did get me. If I had known that's what was going to happen, I definitely would not have bothered unlocking that. Alright, superposition oscillators. How do you make superposition oscillators? It's in the quantum encoder, because of course it is. You need dark matter crystals, crystal oscillators, all-clad sheets, and excited photonic matter. Alright, relatively easy, fortunately. Although the crystal oscillators are a bit annoying, but I might just have to place another couple blueprints of that. So let's head over to the other side of the factory and get that all set up. Jetpack! And we... Oh. Dang it. I had this facing the wrong way. Alright, that's fine. Just have to awkwardly drift around. And now we are landing in approximately where we want to be building this. Right, and slow drop, and we're here. So now we just have to remember how we do this, which... Alright, so we get floor tiles here. Actually, we have to expand this road out first, I think, if I want it to be just like next to this one. I think we expand the road out and put in an intersection. Now we put in a tile there, and of course we're just barely out of the range of power. Put down a tile there. Please, power pole, come over this way. Alright, so now we have those. We build these foundations in. And we need to also finish looping this road all the way around. So then this goes over this way. And it's what, 3 long here? And then we have the intersection. And these road sections. Alright, so that's that. Now we need to figure out what the specific thing actually needs so that we can put the truck stops in for it. So it is crystal oscillators and all-clad sheets. The dark matter crystals, I think we might... Hang on. So this outputs 25 dark matter residue. So this outputs 25. We can use that to receive either 2.5 with that one, or 10 with that one, but that would require time crystals as well. Or we could do this with diamonds, but I don't know why we would. So if we, I believe what you're supposed to do is like mix these two to get a perfect cycle, but I think I probably just want more dark matter crystal production anyway. So I think I'm just gonna like exclusively use this recipe, which means we need time crystals and we need a dark matter export. So in total we need 1, 2, 3 inputs, 2 outputs. Alright, 3 inputs, 2 outputs. So truck stop, that's 2 inputs, that's another 2 inputs, and we have to drag that around in order for this to work. So 4 inputs, so that's 3 inputs, 1 output, and we just need 1 more. So that goes there. Did that line up properly? Alright, let's power on the truck stops so that we can fly near them. Always forget to do that. And now we put in this last one, which is facing that way. And then we have this spot, which is awkwardly not blueprinted because of the silly size of the converter. That just lines up weirdly because it just is that way. That's fine. So then this gets 2 floor tiles next to each other. So now we set the inputs. This is crystal oscillator. crystal oscillators. This is all clad sheets. Set the inputs on the screen and the game makes it for you. Alright. Well, I do have these things produced elsewhere in the factory, so I'm just importing them from other places, so that's what's going on here. Alright, so we have those two. Then we have a third input, which was the time crystals. So we set those, make this green because it's an input, and input time crystals. Yep, labeling is very, very useful, especially for truck stops, because boy, there sure are a lot of them in this city, and it would be very, very difficult to figure out what every truck stop did without giant label signs. Alright, so that's those. Then that one doesn't need to be anything, and these two are the outputs. So this is, what was it? Superposition oscillator. So it's output, superposition oscillator. And this is output for dark matter crystals. Please be red. And output dark matter crystals. Taking breaks of multiple months after burning out from the game, then return to I don't know what it is, meaning hours of study. Yeah, that is rough. That is one of the things that having very thorough labeling systems is very good for. Alright, so we have all that. Then we just have to build the factory and bring these resources in. And I think this time I'm going to bring the resources in first. Previously I've built the factory first, but I feel like doing it differently this time. So let's set these to load. And set that to load. And then copy the billboards around to this side so that we can see them from outside. Alright, so we have that. Now we just need to find the sources of these things. Alright, transport tractor. In you go. The all-clad sheets, I think I know where they are. So let's go. So we turn there, and then we go onto the road. And all-clad sheets are around this way. I'm pretty sure they're pretty far to the end and then to the right. I think the best way of going about this is probably to just go all the way to the end and then catch the sheets on the way back. Okay, this is fine. That's salvageable. Just ideally, you just don't get into collisions. However, if you do get into collisions, you can edit the path to remove the evidence later. Alright, so they should be down this way. It's not that. It might be on that road. No, it should be on this road, probably. Yeah, it's going to be this road. I think I see the aluminum ingot input. Alright. Output aluminum sheets. So we just stop here, load her up, loop back around, and find our way back. Alright, so now we just go over here. And now we're in the busy part of the city, so I'm just gonna take a right real quick to get out of that. And drive around this way to where it's less dense. And I'm pretty sure I'm in approximately the right area now. Take another right here, and then do a U-turn. Alright, so that goes there. And we're almost there. And we'll have to delete that little crash. And then that'll be the all-clad sheets. Alright, then we go around there. And in. Alright, so this is sheets for SP oscillators. Enable autopilot, hide path nodes, and oh, I forgot to delete the crash. It'll be fine. We don't need to delete the crash. Alright. Then we just run this one down to the crystal oscillators, which I know where they are because they are in the same place like 80% of the things are, which is in the one gigantic street dividing the new side of the factory from the old side of the factory. So we just drive this along as far north as possible. And take a left. And a right. Just continue going as far north as possible. Now we're in traffic though, which is unfortunate. Please let me through. Thank you. Alright, so now we're here. Go one more down and take a left here. And then we just drive along until we find the crystal oscillators, which unfortunately we're not at the great angle to see them coming in advance because we're so close. But I'm pretty sure they're far down near the end. Rubber, plastic, plates, motors, here they are. Crystal oscillators. So we load up with those. Really hope our crystal oscillator plant is up to the task. And we head off. Okay, I'm just going to take a left here because heading straight seems like a disaster. Alright, so we drive along this way. Okay, that's bad. That needs to be fixed no matter what. Please get me off of the stupid divider. What? Why are you like this game? Why would you just ram straight into me, random other tractor? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Why? Why do the tractors just insist on being as annoying as possible, just pathfinding straight through you at every opportunity? Alright, we're going to need to fix that. We're going to need to fix that one. Alright, but with that aside, we are almost there. Yeah, the city car madness is incredibly entertaining if you like that sort of thing. It also doesn't stop being entertaining when you stop driving. Like, it is very common to just see tractors just flying through the air off in the distance as you're going around the city. They work very nicely if they're all on their own, but as soon as congestion starts happening, then absolute mayhem ensues. Alright, I'm pretty sure this was the scene of the incident. Yeah. Okay, we're just gonna have to get rid of as much of this as possible. Alright. But then some of this... Alright, no. So I don't even turn on this intersection going the other way, so everything going on here is wrong and needs to be deleted. Alright, so we just delete all of this. And there's more. Gosh, I don't know how this is even going to work with this many nodes gone. But just about gotten it. Okay, then that one, and yeah. I don't know how it's going to handle this turn without any nodes anywhere near it. But we'll just have to hope. And if it doesn't, then they eventually will unstick themselves automatically, so it's fine. Alright, so now we just come back over here. And we save this as crystal oscillators for SP oscillators. Surely it would be easy to add the ability to move nodes. Yeah, you would think, but it certainly doesn't exist yet. I will be very, very happy if they ever add that. Until then, just have to be patient. Did I set this? Why are you not going? Go. Alright, there you go. And there's some crystal oscillators already. There's some all-clad sheets already. Okay, next up, time crystals are gracefully very close by. So I don't have batteries. Where would have batteries that would be close by? Probably this. Yeah, here's some batteries. Alright, I'm just gonna yoink those real quick. And you need to put a couple batteries in your tractors in order to get them started. Alright, so you get, I don't know, 100 is too many, but whatever. So this is time crystals. So we go there, we loop around and out. And fortunately, time crystals are literally right here on the left. So barring any horrible catastrophes, it should be an easy trip. Alright, so then that goes, and we take this turn, and in here. So we load them up, and we're already on our way back. Alright, so now we just have to not get any embarrassing crashes in the last 30 seconds of the trip, which Has happened before. Hopefully does not happen now. Alright. Don't go off the edge of the city. Just loop around here. And in. Time. Crystals for SP oscillators. Yeah, there's something to be said for cleverly planning out the positioning of your factories so that you don't have to drive all the way across the entire thing to get to whatever you need. Alright, so that's that. Now we just need to actually build the factory, which I think will be straightforward. So we need a converter. Pop you in there to make excited photonic matter. And you need to feed into... Can I just line you up properly like that? Yeah, that would be cool. Give a bit of space for the physical inputs. And you make superposition oscillators, which apparently uses a lot of stuff if you let it. Alright, then it's crystal oscillators, all-clad sheets, and dark matter crystals. Dark matter crystals we'll deal with in a bit. For now, we need to build up this wall so that we can put conveyor holes in it. So something like that. And something like that will do. And then go there. And there. Alright, so now we have those. We can just drop them in here. And nothing fancy. Just some quick conveyor lifts. I don't know how fast these even need to be. That definitely didn't snap properly. I guess making them Mark 5s are never going to hurt anything. So yeah, well, let's just make those Mark 5. Just a different streamer we watch uses trucks in an old world he has from update 8. 1.1 trucks broke in weird ways, but tractors still do their jobs. That's funny. Yeah, I've never really used trucks just because, I mean, for purposes like this, trucks are very, very large. Tractors can fit in nice little corners like that more easily. So I've never used trucks, but I considered using them a couple times. It's weird that they broke differently from tractors. Alright, so we just pop that pipeline in there. Alright, so then let's get these buildings powered up. And now the dark matter crystal portion of this. So we need a second floor for that. Alright, so bring this floor across. Is this tall enough to cover up the... It is not. Okay. We need to make this floor slightly taller so that it goes above the converter. And I'm sure this will be fine. Mass dismantling has never caused any catastrophes in the past, right? Alright, managed to get away with it that time. So now we make this a little bit taller. And drag this across. Building these things in place in the city is very, very weird. when your faraway vehicles teleport to their location and don't drive any longer, if he is around the highway, stuff goes sideways. That's funny. Good old Schrodinger's tractors work differently if you're looking at them or not. All right, so we have our second floor now, and we need. What is it? The dark matter crystals are in particle accelerators. And dark matter trap produces 60 per minute. And that needs 30 per minute, so one dark matter trap should be fine. Alright, so particle accelerator. Any particular way I want it to be facing? Just facing forwards is probably fine. Move it close-ish to the front, not peeking over the edge. Somewhere like there should be good enough. And tell you to do dark matter trap. So that will produce a lot of extra crystals. So that uses 125 dark matter residue. So this needs to be... Hang on. How do you do the math here? It's 125 over 150 times 60? Yes. Alright, cool. So we need 25 time crystals per minute is a lot of time crystals. I don't know if we have enough for that, and I haven't added the time crystals to the spreadsheet, so I'm just going to have to go over there and find out. But in the meantime, let's pop a floor hole in there, move the dark matter up. Instantly realize that I really wish this were facing in any direction other than the one that I placed it in. That's fine. This can just go... I mean, it's gonna clip with something no matter what, right? Yeah, let's just take this out and face it the other way. Alright. So that's facing that way now. And it's overall pretty nice. We do that. Then this doesn't need to go out this wide. It just has to go just directly into there. And what was this? 52 maybe? Is it 51? Is it just 50? Oh, it is just neat, clean 50. Okay, I was overthinking that. So then we take the time crystals in, which are going to want to go in through a conveyor wall here. There doesn't need to be a double conveyor wall. So that just goes in there. That comes up in there. And in you go. Alright, so now we have that. Let's hook that up to this power pole and make that power pole Mark III, just in case. Alright, so it's all powered up. Now the only thing we need is to drive this back down. Okay, so we actually need two things. We need some of it to go down and some of it to go across to the extra output. You're producing 50 and using 30. So we have that in. Then we get a splitter. Smart splitter. Thank you. That's important. So it's right, any, left, overflow, center, none. And then we get a floor hole just randomly in there. So then that goes down. And that floor hole is not in the world's most convenient spot, but it's manageable. So that goes out a bit. And what was it trying to do there? And then down a bit. And then in. Alright, so that is all of that. And now we just need this second output. The spaghetti of getting things into truck stops. So we need walls for this to snap onto. Something like that. So then this can come around down like that and then across. And finally, we need another wall hole for the actual oscillator output, the thing that we actually want. Quantum encoders are your favorite looking? They do. Yeah, I agree. They look very, very cool. Alright, so then this just goes across into there, and then everything is fine. And obviously we're going to finish up putting these boxes in. For now, we just need to jumpstart this with, I don't know, we don't even need that many, just a couple dark matter crystals. And now that is cooking along. That'll produce superposition oscillators and dark matter residue. Dark matter residue will go up here to make more dark matter crystals, and the whole thing should loop around and create more dark matter than it uses. Alright. Is this working? It looks like it's working, although the time crystal supply is... yeah, it's nowhere near sufficient. We need more. I assume the time crystal supply is like 10 or 20 per minute. How much are we looking at over here? Output time crystals. Yeah, this is 12 per minute. And the diamond supply is about exactly enough. So we definitely need more time crystals and more diamonds. So let's put those in. Let's see here. Diamonds are here. So that just goes there. Short on iron plates of all things. Let's uncheck that. Grab some into my inventory. Power this up. Not sure why they added so many ways to make diamonds. Yeah, it's kind of weird, especially because, like, for example, petroleum diamonds. Like, why does this exist? Like, you just use the oil and it's more efficient. Like, it's the oil-based diamonds is more efficient and simpler and faster per machine. It's like, why does this recipe exist? And then meanwhile, there's literally like one way of making time crystals. Like, there are 0 alt recipes for time crystals. which is very strange. Alright, what's going on here? Why is this not getting anything? I would have expected the packaged oil to show up by now. Has something gone wrong with this? Not auto-connect. There's plenty there. Oh, is it because of the particle? Yeah, it's because the particle accelerators I very, very slightly messed up when making my auto-connecting blueprint. And as a result, particle accelerators are just barely too tall for it to work. So we have to connect these up manually whenever particle accelerators are involved, which fortunately is not very often, except for specifically diamonds. Alright, so those get connected up. And that's more diamond production. And then getting out is... And I normally don't have trouble getting out of these doors. What did I do differently this time? Did I put... Oh, I think I normally put these elevators on the left side of that. Alright, we're just going to have to make a new door in this. Getting out is no longer an option. Fortunately, we have the dismantle button, which is the most powerful button. Alright. This is ever so slightly cursed, but that's fine. Alright, so that can give us more of those. I mean, we probably don't have the crystal oscillator production to do it this speed anyway, so just one more floor of time crystals should be fine, and these should just work because they don't use the particle accelerators. Alright, so we just power this up, grab you, drop down, that power line in. What is going on here? Why are you like this? Okay. Interesting. How do I even begin to untangle this? Yeah, sometimes they do this. So, theoretically, the roads that I have should be like designed in a way that deadlocks don't happen. However, the tractors are incredibly stupid, so sometimes deadlocks happen. And sort of just have to like find any vehicles that can get out and get them out. Where are you going? You are going all the way over there. Well, that's completely impossible where you are currently. Okay, you look promising. Where are you going? Alright, I think I can squeeze you out. Alright, wait, no, don't leave. Don't leave. I need to hide your path nodes again, or it's going to clutter up the entire map forever. Alright, cool. Ah, I have exited through the wall. Wonderful. Alright, so we get one out. Yeah, this is the downside. I'm pretty sure that, like you were talking about earlier, these will go away if you just leave the vicinity. But I don't even know if you're going that way, but you are now. You can go that way. Frankly, I'm just getting them out of the intersection so that the ones that... so that hopefully they start moving again. Yes. Fantastic. Alright. Seems to be mostly clearing up on its own now. I don't know where you're going. You're going this way now. Okay, why are you just standing there? You should have a clear shot to wherever you're headed. Are you, like... You're oil related? So you're going to be going around here at some point. Alright. Just a couple left. Ooh, that one... And yeah. There... Why are you not moving? Like, there's clearly nothing... Alright, it probably just took you far off of your path and you don't know where to go. Yeah, you're going the exact opposite way. Alright, so you drive around and go that way. And off you go. Alright, we resolved whatever that was. They're pretty rare, although obviously every tractor you add makes that sort of thing more likely. Alright, do we have time crystals to spare anywhere? Not really. So, how many crystal oscillators? Hang on, I gotta pull up the spreadsheet, get an idea of how many crystal oscillators I'm even producing. Alright. Net crystal oscillator production before this new factory is less than 1. So we're gonna have to scale this down a lot. Okay, actually, why are you... Oh, short on dark matter crystals because of the time crystal situation. Alright, so let's set this to 1. And... Alright. We found 2 time crystals somewhere, apparently. So that's progress. Now, the good news is slowing this down will require a lot less of those, so we only need 25 dark matter residue. So let's set this to, like, what is it, 10? Yes. So that should help make the time crystals last longer. Down to 5 per minute from 25. Should be enough to be sustainable. And we have enough crystal oscillators just like in the supply that it should be okay. Alright. So that's that. How many crystal oscillators do we have backed up in here? A huge amount. Right, okay. There's some full truck stops somewhere that unloaded all of those. So now time crystals are well and truly the limiting factor. This one is getting enough time crystals. The other one isn't. So let's check. Why do I even have that box for diamonds? Oh, is this prioritizing its splitting? Okay. I don't know if I want it to be splitting or not. It's probably fine. Is this second floor we added actually working, or is it not getting the diamonds? Yeah, 90% and 90%. So that should be fine then. Probably just filling up buffers and such. Alright. Doing the math here. We get 12 time crystals there, 12 from the bottom floor. That's 24 total. Half of them go into dimensional storage for tier 6 belts and whatnot, which means we have 12 time crystals left over for these 2. And I don't remember how much they're using. I know that one's using 5, which means this one, if this one is using 7 or fewer time crystals, then we're good to go. Where did I put the door on this? Put it down here. Alright, that's also using 5. So in theory, assuming that the tractors just miraculously evenly distribute the time crystals amongst these 2, then there should be enough production. but that would require a miracle, so I'm not... Let's see. I can at least give this a bit of a boost so that it starts working. Theoretically, eventually, like, that buffer will fill up, and then this won't be necessary. But you can just have 2 stacks of time crystals. That should be fine to at least get it moving in the short term. Alright, so that's that. And that should now be starting up at least. It isn't, though, not quite. Alright, and all of the dark matter crystals are going back into recycling because it's set to overflow, so it should be relatively quick. And now this should be going at 100% approximately. Alright, that's probably fine. We're definitely getting enough dark matter crystals recycled. Time crystal situation is not great, but not awful. So let's just put the walls in. Let's just put the walls in and come back to upgrade this later when we upgrade crystal oscillator production in order to keep up with this sustainably. Because currently, even the degree of usage we're doing right now, we don't have enough crystal oscillators technically. We're like a quarter short. But with the amount of stockpiles we have, it'll last ages, so we can at least get it started like this. Alright, walls go in. Should probably remember to put a door in, that would be helpful. Alright, so then this wall goes up. And this looks kind of at a distance like it's a uniform blueprint-based thing like all the rest of them, despite definitely not being that. And now we put the walls up for the top floor. The good news is, like, we can scale this easily just by not underclocking it as much. So we realistically shouldn't need more than maybe one more floor of this if we go completely crazy. And even then, we probably won't. Alright, so that's that. And this one, wall goes up like this. And then this one we will go sideways. Just trying to optimize for as few clicks as possible, which means taking the long zoops rather than the short zoops. Also be careful not to build the wall out too far. Alright, then we just come around here and we build this up. Build this up and be good to go. Alright. Roof time. Conveniently, this is exactly 10 foundations long. So we don't even need to worry about how far we're zooping unless we're doing something weird. Alright, now we just have to put the doors in. which I believe... That's not a great place for a door, is it? Like, it's right in the middle of everything. So let's put the door over here. And may as well just go down directly beneath it for the other one. And it goes there. Now we put in the floor for outside. And we should be just about done with that. Alright, another successful mission. Last thing to do is the dimensional storage. So I don't need a dimensional depot for the dark matter crystals. I already have one of those. I do want one for the superposition oscillators, though. So those go out. Storage container goes in. Dimensional depot on top. Mark 3 belt there. And get a smart splitter with right any center overflow. And I don't know why I wanted to set that faster. It's never going to be more than a Mark 1. Alright, and that's that. And we'll probably have to worry about, like, sinking the dark matter crystals at some point. Because otherwise... Well, I probably sinking both of them at some point. Because otherwise production of the other one will stop. But again, that is something which will not happen for quite a while. This probably hasn't even begun to fill up with dark matter. And now, let's just do one last check in here. That's going along just fine. Yeah, I figured, but you never know. It depends on how long this runs. Although, yeah. Probably will be fine not to sync them. Might even end up having to sync the oscillators instead. But we'll just see which one we end up running out of. Alright, so that is that. Now, how fast are we getting these? Like 1 per minute? It's very, very slow, isn't it? Yeah, 1 per minute. Which means that in order to get the 100-ish we need to unlock the last hub upgrade, it's going to take a while. But we do have enough to make it go faster in the short term at least, so I guess we'll do that. Alright, so you can temporarily get set up to 5 per minute. We're either going to have to massively, massively upgrade crystal oscillator production, and time crystal production, or set this back lower again in the future. But for now, that will get it moving fast. And 5 per minute to get 100 would be 20 minutes, which is reasonable. Alright, so now we just have to head over to the hub and see what the upgrade actually requires. Let's head on over to do that. And making our way. Alright, so this is where the older city starts. The stuff pre-phase 3, I think. I think it was all the stuff up to like phase 4 maybe. Can't remember. And then the roads were getting too clogged, so we decided to basically cut it in half and have it so that the tractors here never go over there and the tractors there never come over here. And it worked very nicely for mitigating congestion until the new side of the factory got big enough that it ended up having congestion problems on its own anyways. And there's just not enough left to do to justify doing that again, so we're stuck with congestion. Why is that just sitting there? It's probably fine. I'm sure I knew what I was doing whenever I built that. Right, and then we go over here. This section above us is the super old factory, which had all sorts of problems with tractors accidentally stopping at the wrong truck stops. And so I stopped using it and rebuilt everything that it was producing. Right. And we go back over here. So if we select this milestone, we need 100 superposition oscillators. We need 1,000 SAM fluctuators. We need radio control units. We need turbo motors. So let's just start throwing all that in. And then grab another batch of them. So we need 50 more turbo motors and more of the other stuff. And of course the superposition oscillators, which are going to take forever. Superposition oscillators are up to 11 already, which really is not terrible. Alright, so we're just going to go over and probably just manually grab the SAM fluctuators and RCUs. Actually, we need to check on the SAM fluctuator production because I stopped producing them because I had a giant stockpile somewhere around here, right? Yeah, this box is my only source of SAM fluctuators. And it's in the super old factory, so it isn't even being used anymore. We still got plenty, though. Grab another 600 of those, and that'll be good. And then we also need to grab the radio control units, which we'll also need to see how we're doing on those. We might be running out. I really hope we have hundreds of radio control units. Gosh, it's probably faster. Hang on. Probably faster to take the hypertube cannon, even if it requires running back this way a little bit. So let's head on over. And swap to the jetpack to control ourselves in the air. And I didn't set this to face the right direction again. So once again, we just sort of awkwardly drift over. Alright, almost there. Which one of these towers even is it? It's going to be one of the shorter ones because it's resource intensive. Maybe that one? Yes, it's this one. Alright, how is the radio control unit supply? Oh, we've got tons. Cool. So we have 200 of those. We need 100, 200, 300 more. And then that will be good. Oh, swap back to hoverpack. I was confused, like, why am I falling out of the sky? It's because I was in the jetpack mode. So now we just need to let the superposition oscillators finish, and we'll have every hub upgrade. And from there, it is space elevator parts. And maybe fixonium. we want to even bother with the Fixonium, which I haven't decided yet. I think we probably will, just because I haven't done it before, and I want to be able to say that I've done it. Alright. Secretly running back and forth like this has been my clever ploy to buy time while the superposition oscillators produce, and it probably hasn't worked, but it'll at least help somewhat. Alright, so now we can take this hypertube back down to the hub. And I really need to set up a better way of getting from one side of the city to the other. Like, more hypertube cannons scattered around, for example, would be a good idea. Alright, so now we're back here. Back here, we can tell this, take all this stuff, and superposition oscillators up to 32 already. Honestly, going way faster than I expected. Still quite slow. So what to do in the meantime? Are all of these using fast enough conveyor lifts? Yes, they are. Good. Are these? Probably doesn't matter. But I can at least upgrade those so that they're faster. In case some weird situation shows up where I have to use thousands of modular frames or quartz or whatever, then they can at least load into the dimensional depot fast enough. Your nuclear factory burns 6 Fixonium per minute. It's 22.5 overclocked power plants. Yeah, so I have my nuclear set up all the way to the plutonium power plant, and I have, let's see, what, 12, I'm thinking like 18-ish regular non-overclocked power plants. Oh, speaking of overclocking, artificial power shards, that's another thing I need to do. I keep forgetting that that's even an option. Power. Oh, I need to unlock it in the MAM, don't I? So let's head over there and do that. And power slugs. I need power shards, time crystals, and quartz. So, quartz crystals, time crystals. Yeah, okay. I didn't mean to set that checkbox again, but it's probably correct to do so. And then, do I have a constructor over here with power shards in it? No, but I can make some easily enough. And do it faster, please. So this, surprising how low I got on power shards. I don't even know why I keep using all of them. 18 plutonium plants, enough waste to feed 9 Fixonium ones. That's good to know. Although, wait, it's not 18 plutonium plants, it's 18 plants total. So it's, I think it's 8 plutonium plants, but it's designed to be scalable. So theoretically I can make it more if I wanted to. Alright, so let's grab those. And now we can unlock this. And start research. Synthetic power shards, done.
Research completed. Synthetic power shard recipe unlocked. Exchanging regular exercise and filtered fresh air with automation is just the kind of progress Fixit likes to see.
Alright, so what does this need? Nothing too fancy, just some quartz, some time crystals, nothing else. Took 6 Fixonium because the numbers seemed convenient. Yeah, that makes sense. I haven't been worrying about the exact numbers so much as making it scalable. So basically, the way my system works is the nuclear plant is built up of like sections of blueprints that all link together, and each floor of the blueprint can power 3 uranium power plants and like 1.8-ish plutonium ones. And so whenever I need more power, I can just add another floor on, which is very convenient. So I don't really have in my head how much power plants I have. I know I have 4 floors though, so somewhere around there. Surely the superposition oscillators, we're up to halfway now. We're up to halfway on the superposition oscillators. Let's head over there to check if they are still working or if something is broken already. We might need to manually feed in more time crystals. Okay, I'm going to remember to fix the hypertube. Do that. And swap to the jetpack real quick. And then we land right around here. Oh, don't overshoot, don't overshoot. Alright, we overshot. We overshot, but I think I can fix this. Alright, didn't even need the extra platform to catch myself on. Alright, so let's make sure this is working properly. This... Oh, I see what's happened. Okay. I didn't power this on, which means it wasn't actually filling up with crystals. So we just set it like that, and that should get it going again if it was backed up at all, which fortunately it was not. It was probably very close though. Everything's looking good there. The time crystal supply is once again not functional. So let's give you another couple. That's actually very suspicious. That looks like it isn't going up very fast. There comes a regular natural supply drop of time crystals. And let's throw some of those in as well, just to keep this going. You're going around the world dismantling all the hard drive crash sites. Yeah, that seems like that would be satisfying. I've just sort of forgotten to do that. Like, I don't know, I end up always leaving them in place instead of dismantling them. I'm just so used to not being able to that I forget that you can now. So that's going fine. Now with this fixed, we should have plenty of space for that. And please, another 16. So we're up to, what, 70-ish? So yeah, just 5 minutes away, I guess. Right? We have 30 left. We're getting 5 per minute. So 6 minutes away, and then we'll have unlocked the last hub upgrade. That's very fun. You destroyed all the gas pillars around the map. See, that is a crazy amount of dedication. I just have the gas filters, you know, feeding into a dimensional storage so I can grab more out whenever I need them, and the gas pillars just don't matter anymore. The only time I destroy the gas pillars are when they're like literally directly on top of where I want to build a factory and like the green cloud is like leaking through the floor or whatever. Other than that, they don't really bother me. Alright. I never noticed that those jitter like that. Is Is that supposed to be that? You guys think they matter still, destroying the poor planet's atmosphere? Well, listen, for all you know, those things are very important to the atmospheric composition of the planet. Like, that could be the primary supply of some important gas. You could be killing the planet. You never know. Alright, another 8. Up to... I can't do math. How much is that? 78 total. This is really going along quite fast. And all sorts of other things are producing in the background. You've hand mined all the random resource rocks laying around that you came across. That is crazy. Yeah, I could never spend so much time doing stuff like that. I much prefer to just build up here far away from the ground and just sort of ignore the ground for the most part. Like, I don't need to hand mine those things if I never see them. Alright. How many of these? So we're up to 83. So yeah, we are basically almost there. I'm just going to start running back to the hub, I guess. And then once we finish this, then we'll have to start planning our project parts. Was that a dust particle, or was that a tractor getting sent flying at Mach speeds? I think it must have been a dust particle. They load in first, so you notice them from far away. Interesting. Yeah, I just normally don't look at the ground. I normally look at these giant concrete messes that I make up here. I guess looking down. Yeah, no, I can't see any. Like, I actually don't notice a single one. Oh, there's a Mercer sphere, actually. How many Mercer spheres do I have? I have 7. I don't need it. Oh, I see you. I see one down there, if I'm specifically looking for it. Alright. So let's just keep jumping along. Hey, look, poison pillar. And keep on moving until we reach the hypertube. And oh, the hypertube is back over here. We went a little bit too far north. And in we go. So hopefully by the time we get there, we'll have the superposition oscillators. And we'll be able to finish off the hub. Alright, so we're heading over. And almost there. Alright, here we are at the hub. Superposition oscillators, another 12. We're up to 95 out of 100. Literally 1 minute. Alright. That's pretty cool. So just have to stick around a little bit for that. And now we're at 3. Your biofuel ran out. That's funny. Yeah, I never use biofuel because I'm paranoid of exactly that happening. Like, here I am in the late game. My jetpack is run on ordinary fuel. Not turbo fuel, not rocket fuel, just regular old fuel. I mean, I hardly ever use it, right? So, alright, that's 100 superposition oscillators. And we can launch that off, and
Milestone reached.
hub is finished.
Instant travel between chosen locations will be possible as soon as the main and satellite portals are built and paired. Do not
Right.
ask me how it works. Not because I don't understand dimensional dispersal theory and the cross-warp applications of liminal peer-regulated parallel fibrillator
Thank you,
nanocells,
Ada.
for
I'm sure
example.
those are a bunch of
But
nonsense
because you do
words.
not need to know. You go in one end, you come out the other. It's a door. Thankfully, the construction
You
of
never use
Project
Jetpack
Port
until
number
you play
12,
multiplayer,
the ballistic warp
you
drive,
got
can be
addicted to
automated
biofuel.
and requires no manual input
It's
from
interesting.
you.
How do
So I'd
you
say
not
you're
use
relatively
Jetpack
safe.
for like the entire
If you
period of
disagree
time it takes
about my
before you
assessment
unlock
of
the
your
hover pack?
capabilities, you are free to attempt a study and replication of either portal or warp technology. After you're done with project assembly.
Alright, so hub is finished. Now we get to go into note-taking mode of what all we need to make the project parts. So, let's get down some signs. Actually, do I need signs for this? They probably won't hurt. Alright. Billboard, billboard, billboard. And need a tiny bit more space. And billboard. You span the entire map with giant power towers and used hypertube cannons. Yeah, that makes sense. I frequently don't end up using hypertube cannons through a lot of the early game just because, like, I don't even know why I don't. I just never get around to setting them up. But if you have those early, then jetpack is definitely less necessary. Alright, so. Nuclear pasta. We already have a blueprint for this. But we need copper powder, fused frames, and RCUs. Nuclear pasta is copper powder, fused frames, RCUs. Then we have biomechanical sculptors, which is assembly director systems, trigons, and water. And it's ADS, trigons, and water. Then we have, I don't even know what these ones are called. AI expansion servers are magnetic field generators, NQP, so MFG, NQP, SPO, and photonic matter. Gosh, this one's a mouthful. So AI expansion servers, which is magnetic field generators. I've forgotten already. And it is NQP, SPO, and then free. NQP, SPO. Hooray for acronyms that I'm never going to be able to figure out, but whatever. And then finally we have the ballistic warp drive, which is thermal propulsion rockets, singularity cells, which is nuclear pasta, and dark matter, SPO, and more dark matter. So we need thermal propulsion rockets, singularity cells, superposition oscillators, and dark matter. So this is ballistic warp drives, and it is thermal propulsion rockets, nuclear pasta, dark matter, forgotten what the middle one was. What was the other thing that I was forgetting? Ah, right, SPO. Alright. So we need to enhance production of all of these things. We have some nuclear pasta, but not enough. We would need, what, like 1,000... So this is 1 nuclear pasta per 10 singularity cells. So it's 100 nuclear pasta for the warp drives and 1,000 for this. So that's 1,100 nuclear pasta. That's more than I have. The sculptors should be fine. I'm pretty sure I have lots of assembly director systems piled up, and then triguns and water are relatively simple. This, I have a good pile of magnetic field generators, I think, but these two are going to be things we wait on. And then again here I have a good stockpile of thermal propulsion rockets. It's the nuclear pasta is going to be the scaling problem, as well as the singularity, what is it, superposition oscillators. So I can do all of these relatively easily, except, I mean, 1,000 nuclear pasta is just, like, objectively speaking, a lot of nuclear pasta. So we're going to have a lot of resources to do that. I need to figure out how much of everything I want. So if, like, how fast can I realistically do this? So 1,000 nuclear pasta plus a little bit. If we do 10 a minute, then that would be like an hour and a half-ish. Doing 10 a minute is a lot. And then this also requires 1,000. How fast are these made? 2 per minute. So I would need like 5 batches of these to get it to that hour and a half mark. And then these, the AI expansion servers, are fortunately we need a lot less. And they are made relatively quickly. So we can actually put these together pretty quickly if we have the prerequisite resources, which is not going to be easy. And then the ballistic warp drives are, I assume, pretty slow. So we would need 2 per minute for these to get to the 100 minutes mark, which would be pretty hard. Not terribly so, actually. No, this should be pretty simple. Alright, so I think that's going to be the plan, is we are going to set up to try to get... And let me actually put the signs down so that this plan actually exists. So the goal for nuclear pasta is going to be the hardest one, and it is 10 per minute. And the goal for biochemical sculptors is also going to be 10 per minute. So that's that. Set the label just for convenience. And then the goal for the AI expansion servers is... Yeah, I've forgotten this already. I think it was just like 1 batch, which is 4 per minute. Hang on. 256 divided by 4. Yeah, so one batch of those should be good enough. So we want this to be 4 per minute and AI expansion servers. And then the nuclear, the ballistic warp drives, we wanted to be 2 per minute, which should be pretty easy, at least temporarily. Alright, ballistic warp drives, 2 per minute. Alright, so the question then becomes, do we start planning this out now, or do we just leave this be for next stream? We're running up near the end, and I'm not feeling like starting to design 4 gigantic complicated factories right now. Alright. Let's at least look at the... Is the power shards even difficult? It's an encoder, so I can't automate it. Oh, that's another thing I should check. Are these all in encoders or something? AI expansion servers is in an encoder, so I can't automate that. And I assume the ballistic warp drive will also... No, this is just in the manufacturer. Alright. So we're going to need to either automate the... we're going to need to either automate stuff or just let them pile up. But I think we should be able to do this. If we set it up next stream, we can leave these till the end because they'll be the quickest. We might be able to finish this on Friday, if not, Monday or maybe next week. But yeah, we should be finished by next week, basically. Possibly even this week if we go real fast. And then we'll just have fun post-game stuff to do after that. Yeah, I've done my planning for this, and I think we're gonna put that off until next stream. So I think we're gonna end a little bit early today. Thanks everyone for hanging out. Make sure to follow if you haven't already, just so you get alerts when I'm going live and all that stuff. So yeah, that would be very helpful. Yep, I stream every weekday from 2 to 5 Eastern Time. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I play Foundry, which is another 3D factory building game, which is much earlier in development. And I play Satisfactory on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So if you're interested in either of those, make sure to stop by then. And yeah, I will see you guys then. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it.